Hi. I'm sorry for the delay. I thought it was at 3:30. So today I want to talk to you about multiplayer games and how they're going to take over the world. But before I do that, I want to talk to you about what I consider to be one of the most innovative products of the past decade, the iPad. Now, I'll confess, when this product first came out to the market, I didn't really get it. Is this an oversized iPhone? Is this a PC without a keyboard? I didn't get it. And I know my friends didn't get it either. The thing is, when Steve Jobs was asked, did you conduct any kind of market research to see what products people are looking for? He answered, none. Zero. It's not the consumer's job to know what they want. And this is really what makes Steve Jobs amazing and great. And this is what really makes Apple so successful. They did not wait for consumers to tell them what they're looking for. They didn't ask them whether they want this product or not. They simply innovated. So I know and I use iPad today in all of my day-to-day uses. And the reason I use iPad is because my friends who use the iPad told me, Ora, this is an amazing product you should use. And my friends heard from their friends that this is an amazing product that they should use. And this brings me to what makes Apple great as well. Not only is Steve Jobs very, very good in innovating and thinking of new products, they're extremely wonderful and great in spreading out their ideas. If you look at Apple keynotes, you have 50,000 people tuning in from 120 countries listening to a 2-hour commercial of Apple. A 2-hour commercial. And you got to think about it, that these people really drive the business for Apple. And why would they want to listen to a 2-hour commercial? Because they care about Apple's products. The name of the game today is to really get, like Apple, to really get your ideas out there. Now, in the past, the way to get your ideas out there was using mass media like TV. And the process would go something like this. I would buy ads, interrupt people in what they were doing, and hopefully these interruptions would make people want to buy my product. And then I would take the sales generated from that interruption and buy more ads and interrupt more people, and so on and so on. And we've heard the same thing in the mobile market. If I could just get onto Google's homepage, if I could just get out there, grab some people at the throat, and I would be noticed and I would win. And mass media has also constructed the way we consume products, buying products that are bad for us or that we don't really need. The thing is, this doesn't work anymore. And the reason that it doesn't work is because people don't care about your product. They simply don't care. And the reason they don't care about your product is because they have so many choices than they had in the past, and much less time. So if you have a lot of choices on one hand and less time on the other hand, the simple thing to do is to completely ignore you. Imagine that you're driving down the road with your car, and you see a cow. Okay? Nobody's going to stop and go, wow, that's a cow, because we've seen cows before. Okay? Cows are boring, and cows are invisible. You drive down the road, you see another cow. You ignore that cow as well. But what happened if the cow was purple? You would stop and you go, wow, that's a purple cow. That's something to look at. That's something remarkable. And remarkable, it's a really great word. In addition to meaning really cool, it really means something to make remark about. And that's the essence of what we're, oh God, sorry. That's the essence of what we want to do, make remarkable products. Now, we're in the fashion business. Now, people in the fashion business, they know they're in the fashion business. They're accustomed to thinking that they're in the fashion business. We need to get used to thinking that we're in the fashion business, and we need to change the way we think. We need to start getting used to that. I'm starting to get used to that. In the past, when we would talk to developers, we would talk about the principle of KISS. Keep it simple and stupid. But this doesn't work anymore. People are not looking for simple games. Now, don't get me wrong. Simplicity is something that's very, very important, but it's not the most important thing. People are looking for something that is sexy, that's sophisticated, that's elegant, that has an X factor, a wow factor, something that is young and fresh. People are looking for something more. Now, the same way that we've moved from KISS to sexy, we also have to start moving away from the mass media marketing approach. In the past, we would aim to the center of this. We would aim to the mass market. We would smooth out the edges of our product to make it suitable for everyone. The thing is, these people in the center, they don't care about your product. They have perfected ignoring your product. So I say, why don't we think of a different approach? Why don't we think about talking to the people that stand in line, and in line every time Apple launches a new product? They stand in line for hours and hours because they care about the products. Why not aim to the innovators and to the early adapters? Market to them because they will care about your product. And hopefully, if they like and care your product enough, it will spread to the rest of the curve. Sorry. So, in order to get your game discovered, you really need two things. The first is to think about a remarkable idea, something that people would talk about. The second is to find and target those people who are going to talk about your game. Because if your game isn't unique, if it doesn't invoke interest, if it's not something that people will talk about, and the right people talking about it, probably it would fail. So the big questions I want to ask you, fellow developers, is do you believe that your game is remarkable? Do you believe that it's something so special that people will go on and talk about it? You don't have to answer me now. Just think about it. So, how to get your remarkable idea spread out there? Before I talk about that, I want to talk about the problem. Google Play has just reached 1 million downloads. 1 million downloads. Now, if you played each application for 10 minutes, you would be playing for 20 years straight. If you wanted to eat, if you wanted to sleep, if you wanted to do anything else, you'd be playing for the rest of your life. Now, most of these games are undiscovered. Nobody's heard about them, nobody knows about them. An even smaller amount of the games actually generates a substantial amount of revenues. But don't kill yourself yet. There's a huge opportunity as well. When things look so bad, when the numbers get worse and worse and worse, it's really an opportunity for us to stop, to think, and try and look for new opportunities in the market. And there are. Going back to iPad, I don't know if most of you know, but the product that we know now and know and love, yes, no, is actually the great-grandparent of another product called Newton. Has anybody heard of Newton? One person, amazing. 2, 3, 4, 5, okay. A few people. But for the rest of you that haven't heard of Newton, don't worry. The reason you haven't heard of Newton is because it was a complete and utter failure. It didn't work. There were too many crashes, there were too many bugs, and it was very, very, very expensive. But amazingly enough, 10 years later, same company, same technology, great success. The only variable is time. And finding the right time is something that we can do by conducting market research, by analyzing what is successful, what worked, what doesn't work, what can be improved. We can find timing for our opportunities. Now, looking at 2013, we see that successful games were driven by three things. Players don't want to play their games alone anymore. Standalone games are becoming less and less relevant in the market. But it's not only that. Players want to play with their friends and create personal experiences and personal interaction with their friends. Games that offered a new type of communication were also very successful. If we look at Draw Something, we see that users were communicating with each other by sending pictures to each other. It's not text, it's not voice, it's something else. If you look at Candy Crush Saga, if I wanted to send a positive message to my friends, I wouldn't pick up the phone and say hi, I would send them a life. If I came back to the game and looked at the progression map, I knew exactly what happened in the game simply by looking at the progression map. It's a new type of communication. Now, we believe that real-time multiplayer games enhances each and one of these things. It creates a more social game. It creates more personal interactions between players. And if it's built correctly, you can really create a new type of communication between your players. It's the simple difference between text and phone calls. Think about how many texts you would have to send to your friends to summarize a 15-minute call, 15 seconds call, a 30-second call, a 1-minute call. It's the same thing. Now, if you look at what you see in the market, you see that the industry landscape, the consumer maturity, and the technology are all aligned. This is the time to grab this opportunity. Now, if you look at the market, you see that in each ecosystem, in Apple and in Google, you have 100, more or less, real-time multiplayer games. Only a few of these games have been very, very successful. And most of them were created in the past 6 months. The big players are not there yet. You only have a few big publishers in the real-time multiplayer game world. And the ecosystems as well, Apple and Google are also promoting real-time multiplayer games. In terms of what players are looking for, we know that they're accustomed to playing with their friends. We see Candy Crush, we see Draw Something. We know that these games are very successful. Now, our users, they're becoming more sophisticated. They're looking for something more. They're looking for a more deeper experience in their games. The technological barriers that used to be are no longer there. The devices are stronger, the networks are more reliable, and you have unique matching systems by Apple and Google to help developers ease the pain of development. So the technology is there, the consumer's there, and the market conditions are perfect for now. And this is the way to get your game, stand out, and be remarkable. And that's exactly where you want to be. Now, we believe so much in this direction that we've integrated real-time multiplayer solutions in all of our solutions that we offer developers. In terms of development, we've integrated a real-time multiplayer mechanism into our development platform, which really takes care of reliability and latency of the network. We've also integrated a unique matching system into our development platform, all designed for real-time multiplayer games. In terms of marketing, in addition to giving our games instant access to 50 million users, we are also going to be launching a real-time multiplayer game on a monthly basis starting January 2014. In terms of monetization and optimization, we've integrated real-time data analysis for real-time multiplayer games. We've created new dashboards which will enable developers to see what happens to their game once it's launched to the market. But we can't do this alone. We are looking for talented developers who believe in what we believe, who want to make a remarkable game, who know that very good is really very bad. They're looking for something unique, for something that stands out, and something that people will talk about. Now, if you believe in what we believe, then we should talk. Thank you. And I'm sorry for being late again. Are there any questions? Yes.
Thanks, Ura. That was really amazing. And
we
have a few minutes for questions. Guys? Если кто-то задает вопросы, пожалуйста, используйте микрофон, потому что это все записывается, чтобы потом выложить хорошее видео в YouTube. Maybe I can start. Can you say some words about really success stories about games that you get to partnership?
Our publishing games? Yeah. You want success of Playscape, you mean?
Some successful stories.
Okay, so currently we have 50 million players in the market. We have 50 games that we launched. 2 of our games have reached the top 25 in the US market. We're a top developer of Google. We're a strategic partner of Google. We work with Amazon, with Google, with Apple. We work with 25 game studios and 8 geolocations. That's it.
Thanks. Вопросы?
Yes. No? Oh, okay.
Hello, thank
you.
Hello.
Sorry.
With real-time multiplayer, what first comes to mind is real-time
Could
strategy
you please speak
games.
up? I can't hear you.
Real-time strategy games. So they are very popular on PCs and not so popular on mobiles because of the control issues and network latency, and it's not really that good. Do you think something like real-time strategy games will be possible with your framework or with your idea of the company multiplayer?
Okay, so how did you develop your game? I mean, how are you going to do the development? Do you want to use our framework or you've been using something else?
I'm speaking about using your framework. Is it capable of doing something like that? Because right now it's really hard on mobiles.
Definitely yes. It's something that we can do together. Our product director is here in the crowd as well. And if you want, I'd love to see your game. And we can discuss how we can take your game and port it using our framework. In addition, if you wanted to use other frameworks as well, we have an R&D team which really helps developers integrating real-time multiplayer solutions into their game, even if they don't use our framework.
Okay, thanks.
I have a technical question. What is your framework is about? This is just API for developers who can reach some interfaces to connect with, or it's something that I should buy for?
Oh no, it's free. It's completely free. Yes.
Okay, and all games can just communicate it with no problem and without limitations.
Yes.
Okay.
It's very, very simple. It's really designed to make developers' life easy.
Еще вопросы?
In your presentation, you mentioned that devices becoming more powerful.
Yes.
And, does it mean that your framework isn't capable for running on older devices, such as?
No, we work on weaker devices as well. And originally, when we actually started the company in 2008, we were on JavaME, on devices that aren't so strong. But I'm talking about the opportunity in terms of the strength of devices, which in the past you wouldn't be able to run a real-time multiplayer game on weaker devices, on JavaME devices.
So is there some lower requirements for devices? For example, it won't run on iPad first generation or something like that?
That's a good question. I actually don't remember the numbers, but I can get that for you and share it with you.
Thanks.
Hello.
Hello.
What if my game is good but not really good enough? Will you give some feedback to me?
Yes.
Or yes.
Part of the process of working with us is that throughout the whole process, we provide you consultancy. So when you're developing the game, you work with the product team and you work with the BI team that really tell you what you need to improve in your game to make it work in terms of retention, engagement, monetization. And once the game is launched, we also help you in optimizing your game in terms of distribution and monetization.
Thanks.
Hello, I have
Hello.
a small question.
Yes.
You tell that it's high time for making of real-time multiplayer games.
Yes.
But what do you think about multiplayer games, but not real-time? For example,
Just in time or turn-based?
I will explain.
Okay.
For example, people create a map in our game and save them on our server. And other player can play it, share, and do other stuff, comment it. How do you think, first question, how do you think will it be good for present situation on iOS market? And second question, does your API allows it?
I beg your pardon, I didn't understand the second question.
Does your system allows to, I don't know, create some maps and store them on your servers?
Yes, definitely.
So you
in terms of the first question, a real-time multiplayer game really enhances all of these things, but it's not only that. You really have to think about, again, being remarkable. So even if your game isn't real-time multiplayer game, but it's something that you have a social feeling, that it offers a new type of communication, if it really hits all those three things, then you should be great.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Еще вопрос? Ну что ж, спасибо. Thanks,
Thank you.
Ura, and
I apologize again for the delay.